Welcome to General News. For August 10, 2026, the central tension in the Middle East is a widening gap between international peace proposals and the reality on the ground, as a major new plan to end the conflict in Gaza has already hit a wall. At the same time, Israel is facing a period of deep internal instability as it prepares for upcoming elections. In Gaza, a significant diplomatic impasse has emerged. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a 15-point peace plan proposed by the Trump administration, stating that no Israeli military withdrawal will occur until Hamas is genuinely disarmed. The plan was designed as a roadmap to end the conflict, proposing the creation of a board of peace to oversee the disarmament of Hamas and other armed groups, the withdrawal of Israeli troops, and the massive task of reconstructing the territory. But the framework has hit a fundamental deadlock over the sequence of events. While the Trump administration has stated that Hamas agreed to complete disarmament, Hamas maintains that any surrender of heavy weapons is strictly contingent on an immediate Israeli withdrawal and a total end to hostilities. Mr. Netanyahu has dismissed any process that does not ensure real, verifiable disarmament first, describing such alternatives as fictitious. This rejection is happening under intense pressure from within Israel's own government, including National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, who has called the draft unacceptable. Defending the framework, Nikolay Mladinov, a senior diplomat tasked with implementing the plan, argued that the process is designed to be both verifiable and reversible, specifically to prevent a repeat of the attacks on October 7. As these negotiations stall, the humanitarian reality remains dire. United Nations data shows that approximately 1.9 million people, about 90% of Gaza's population, remain displaced from their homes. This diplomatic stalemate is unfolding while Israel faces its own internal crisis ahead of legislative elections on October 27. There are mounting concerns from politicians, civil society groups, and President Isaac Herzog regarding the integrity of the democratic process. Following meetings with security and electoral officials, President Herzog has urged political leaders and candidates not to cross red lines or treat political rivals as enemies, amid fears of increased violence and integrity. Public confidence appears to be wavering. A poll from the Israel Democracy Institute found that nearly 3/4 of Jewish Israelis are concerned about the fairness and integrity of the upcoming vote, while only 43% expressed optimism about the future of democratic rule in the country. Critics and observers have pointed to several institutional failures. On the administrative side, there are allegations of political bias in the appointment of the acting head of the Central Elections Committee, and the government has cut that committee's budget by 50 million shekels. This cut comes despite warnings about the risks of foreign interference and the challenges posed by artificial intelligence. Then there are concerns regarding actual voter access. There are accusations that the government is resisting efforts to expand voting in care homes, and allegations that the Transportation Ministry has limited flights into Ben Gurion Airport, which critics say could hinder overseas citizens from returning to vote. These tensions are compounded by scrutiny over the government's efforts to reduce judicial oversight and the Prime Minister's attempts to defer an independent inquiry into the October 2023 attacks. While these political and diplomatic battles continue, the statistics from the United Nations reveal a more immediate physical crisis for the people living in Gaza. Data from the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs indicates that 67% of Gaza's population is currently facing food insecurity, with approximately 200,000 people living in conditions that typically precede a formal declaration of famine. The data translates into a grim daily reality in places like the Al Zawaida camp. There, residents like Sahar al-Bardini, a widow, report that children are still struggling to recover from the physical toll of previous periods of starvation. While community kitchens are providing staples like rice to prevent immediate death from hunger, nutrition specialists warn that these diets lack the essential proteins and nutrients required for physical development. Medical experts, including nutrition specialist Dr. Ghada Jibril, warn that this nutritional gap is particularly dangerous for children who survived previous famine periods. Because malnutrition can cause lasting damage to brain development and immune function, the lack of a sustained, nutrient-rich diet may leave a permanent mark on the health and developmental trajectory of an entire generation of children.